It seems like lately, whenever I make a video involving anything Nintendo related as far as news or quote unquote rumors or quote unquote leaks are concerned, I'm not being able to talk about it from a place of enjoyment. I'm having to talk about it from a place of people are out there spreading misinformation, being incorrect about things, YouTubers, websites, all sorts of people. So I have to come along and correct everyone and be the Debbie Downer, be the bearer of bad news. But at least I'm not hyping you up to a point of where you're going to believe something is happening and then something doesn't happen and then you get mad. Granted, my track record, hey, I was right there with you with the Switch Pro, but alas, things change, seasons change, people change, and I feel like I've done a better job. But today, guess what, kiddos? Talking about another Nintendo story that I've seen people talking about on Twitter, I've seen them talking about on YouTube, I've seen them talking about them on websites, and I feel like this is a little bit of a miscommunication and I can make some sense for it. It's not the most glamorous answer. It's not what you want to hear. It's not necessarily what I want to hear, but I feel it is the correct answer. Now, obviously yesterday, Nate the Hate and I crushed all the hopes and dreams that every Activision game and every Blizzard game and every Bethesda game has to come to the Nintendo Switch because evidently people can't read and they read what they see what they want to see, they hear what they want to hear. It is a part of natural human nature, but when you're doing stuff like this, you know, when you have an audience of people visiting your website, you have an audience of people listening to your YouTube videos, you should take pride in what you're talking about. You should take pride in trying to be correct and give the information as accurately as possible. And now we have another situation because the almighty Jeff Grubb, of course, industry insider, writes for, I forget where, I think he's at Giant Bomb nowadays. He does his Last of the Nintendogs podcast with Mike Minotti, who doesn't follow me on Twitter. What's up, Mike? You don't like me? That's okay if you don't, but it's kind of weird that you don't follow me on Twitter. But Jeff Grubb is honestly one of the few industry people that I like. And I don't even know if I necessarily love the guy or anything like that, but I would break bread with him. You know, if I go out to a meal with you, if I sit down at a table and we break bread together, I have a certain level of respect for you and I like you, because that to me, I know this is going to sound weird, maybe it's the old school Italian in me, but I don't break bread with people I don't like. That's just something I've always had instilled into my mind. I guess I watched too many weird mafia movies growing up. But Jeff Grubb, during his Last of the Nintendogs podcast very recently, made some claims about two different games for Nintendo. I should say two different franchises for Nintendo, and you'll understand why I specify that as we get along with this video. But the two things in question, we're going to go over them now, and I'm going to tell you guys why I think that people are misinterpreting potentially the second thing. So the first thing he talked about is something that I don't think is a huge surprise or anything like that. Metroid Prime 2 for the Switch is coming relatively soonish. And I mean, yeah, it probably is. I think we're all under the impression that this isn't going to be on the scale of Metroid Prime 1, where they actually went in, redid textures, redid different things for graphical effects. You know, I feel like this is just going to be a simple HD upscaling like we've seen that emulators can do, you know, like Dolphin, and people have already done full-on tutorials. There's even HD texture packs for games like Metroid Prime 2. You wish that Nintendo would work with some of these modders and stuff like that, but no, take the cheap, easy way out. I get it, it's business as usual, but it'll be nice to have Metroid Prime 2, which I think is a really good game, a really challenging game, honestly, but a really good game added into the Nintendo Switch family of systems, the Switch and the Switch Lite, because, you know, you're seeing it with Pikmin. Of course, GameCube stealth drops are now the big thing for Nintendo. The last two Nintendo Directs, what did we have? We had a Metroid Prime remastered stealth drop, which, I don't know, looking at the sales of that game from at least what's being talked about online, maybe they shouldn't have stealth dropped that, because maybe the hype would have helped a little bit, but I mean, I don't know, I bought 2 copies of it, so I did my part. Did you do your part? No, because you're a fake Metroid fan, and that's why Metroid Dread did not break 3 million copies sold. But then at the last Nintendo Direct, of course, Pikmin 1 and 2 HD came out with a physical release to follow up later on. So the line of thinking is, okay, you're probably going to get Metroid Prime 2 at the September Nintendo Direct. He did say that he heard a September Nintendo Direct. I have no problems with this statement. I have no problems believing Jeffrey on this. I have no problems with anyone talking about this because I think this is all pretty much accurate stuff. You know, we've been hearing about stuff like this. It makes perfect sense to bring the Metroid Prime games over because they're gorgeous looking games. You know, stuff like Pikmin, stuff like Metroid Prime. These games, the graphics have really held up very well, especially when you upscale them. Which is why Star Fox Adventures from the GameCube should also come to the Switch. Look, man, it's The Legend of Zelda with Star Fox characters and some little Star Fox sprinkled in and dinosaurs. It runs at 60 frames per second on the GameCube. Show this game respect. But the second thing is where everyone went off the rails, because now all damn day I've been seeing, oh, the legend, there's a new Zelda game coming out in 2023. Have you Zelda people not had enough this year? Have you played through Tears of the Kingdom? I've seen many of these Nintendo Twitter accounts, these Nintendo YouTubers. They haven't even beaten the damn game yet. They're still sitting on 6-7 hearts. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing with your time? Do you even play video games? Like, sheesh. But now people are saying that there's a new Legend of Zelda game coming out, even though they haven't finished the first one, because of something that Jeff Grubb said. Jeff Grubb didn't want to say this, first and foremost, but he said something Zelda that has nothing to do with Tears of the Kingdom is happening later this year. So everyone, their minds went to one place. Of course, the Wind Waker, Twilight Princess games. Once again, they make sense. These are GameCube games. Wind Waker especially has held up very well with that cel-shaded art style. But I personally do not see Nintendo releasing 2 Legend of Zelda games in the same year, because technically you're releasing 3 if we even go the double pack route. So then what could this be? Well, could it be the announcement for this double pack? I mean, I guess you could have it as a spring 2024 release. Of course, you have to factor in next generation hardware, which, Jesus Christ, there's people who still think it's coming out this month or it's going to be fully revealed this month. How far have we fallen away from the grace of God, the God of video games, with these sort of statements? But okay, I'll maybe give you that. Or let's go over what was said again. Something Zelda that has nothing to do with Tears of the Kingdom is happening this year. Something Zelda. He never says a game. I've watched the clip of what he says. He never says a Zelda game that has nothing to do with Tears of the Kingdom is coming out or is being talked about or is happening later this year. You remember those Zelda Legos? I can't even show you them because whenever anyone was talking about the Zelda Legos, they were hit with acclaim from either Lego or Nintendo because it was leaked information. Google in Zelda Legos. It was the talk of the world back earlier this year around February. Some Zelda Lego sets had leaked, much like they did with Super Mario Brothers. And let's keep it a buck here. Zelda's very popular right now, much like Mario is very popular. They did a whole bunch of pomp and circumstance for those Mario Lego packs. You're going to tell me that they're not going to do the same thing for The Legend of Zelda? Of course they are. Zelda is now outselling Mario in some cases, so why wouldn't you do something like that? These are obviously going to be very highly collectible items. I will not buy them. I don't buy Legos. I grew up poor. I had Lincoln Logs, and I don't have the patience to make Lego stuff. But that, to me, sounds a hell of a lot more realistic than Nintendo releasing another Zelda game this year, whether it be Twilight Princess, whether it be Wind Waker. Because when are they going to do it? Outside of a Nintendo Direct? There's a bunch of games coming already. Super Mario RPG, Super Mario Wonder. You have, third-party titles to talk about. Like, there's a bunch of stuff happening this year. Something like a Metroid Prime 2 HD version dropping on the Switch. Okay, I could see that happening as a stealth thing. But they're obviously going to hype up something Zelda related. And if Nintendo, the company themselves, has gone on record and said, hey, we want to release a Zelda game every year for Nintendo fans. Why? Why in the name of God are they going to blow their load this year and release potentially 3 games when they could just save it for 2024? Use your noodle, people. Use your noggin. There's probably not going to be another Legend of Zelda game that has nothing to do with Tears of the Kingdom. I don't even think it's going to be announced this year. But let's just say there's a potential it could be announced, but it's not going to release this year. And if it does, hey, you know what? I was wrong. I was wrong. But I would rather be rooted in reality than rooted in fantasy. And then when something I conjure up in my head doesn't happen, that way I'm not upset by it. Because when you look at it from a logical standpoint, it makes absolutely no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. And Jeff Grubb never said it was a Zelda game coming out this year. Maybe some of these, you know what? I think YouTubers need to start taking sponsorships from Q-tips so you can get that wax buildup out of their ear. Either that or they're just making shit up and they need to go see a shrink. Let me know what you think of this in the comments section down below. Like I said, I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy. I'm trying to be a realistic Richard. I don't know. It just kind of worked a little bit. And I'm just trying to keep you guys' expectations in line for what is probably going to happen. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. 469,000 subscribers. 69, little butt in your face. Hey, you know what happens, boys and girls. It happens. And as always, thank you guys for checking out this video. I didn't feel like being on camera. I just got done eating. There's probably food in my beard. I'm not going to be that guy that has food in his beard in his videos. And as always, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Later.